Hi, welcome to this Excel tutorial video. Today we're going to look at an introduction to Excel, what Excel is, who would use it, why maybe you would use it. So if you're unsure, if you've never seen Excel before but you want to learn it but you don't know whether you need to, you'll actually use it, then hopefully this video will help you a little bit on that. So this video was recorded in June 2021 using Excel 365. Excel's been around for a long time, and it is a spreadsheet program that it's used by huge corporations as well as families and individuals. It's used to store data. In large corporations, it's used for reporting purposes. Maybe in smaller, for individuals and families, it's maybe used for monitoring household expenses, maybe incomings and outgoings, balancing figures, that sort of thing. And as an example, I'm going to show you how to set up something like that. So by the end of this video, if you're interested, then you can follow this video and set something up. Excel, then on screen you can see it. You've got a few different areas here. You've got some tabs at the top here, and within each tab, if you select these tabs here, this ribbon bar will change. So right now I'm on the home tab. If I click on the data tab, then the ribbon changes here. If I go to the insert tab, then the options on the insert tab are different again, so you can click and explore these tabs here. I'll go through a few of them in this video. Then you've got this little section here, which is a section where you type your text and your values to go in the cells. I'll show you some examples of that. It's not just limited to text. You can do calculations and formulas and that sort of thing. And then you've got this large section here, which is the main body of the Excel, called a worksheet, and it's where you put your data and where you view your data. It's made up of cells like a grid reference. So here you can see I'm in cell A2. If I came down here, I'm in J12, and you can see I'm in that cell. The J is slightly darker than the other letters, and the 12 is slightly darker than the other numbers, so you can see what reference I've got selected. I can click my mouse and select a large section if I wanted to, and again you can see these colorations here indicating what I've got selected. So the columns across the top are identified by letters, and the rows going up and down are identified by numbers. You can, well, let's start adding a little bit of data. Let's start making this look like something that could make sense. So let's imagine you want to create a spreadsheet and monitor your monthly incomings and outgoings. So at the first row here, let's put a header of the data we want to store. So let's put a date column, let's put a description column, let's put an incoming column and an outgoing column. So I just clicked on each of those in turn and typed. If I want to, I can do like in other applications. I can click on here and I've got this copy option here, or Control and C. I can click that and I can go somewhere here and I can paste it, or I can click on the delete button. If I'm on a cell like that and I press delete, the words will disappear. And then if I type again, I can type over. If I highlight the cell and I don't press delete but I start typing, it will overtype whatever's in that cell. And as I'm typing, you'll see that what I'm typing appears in the formula bar here. And then when you finish typing, press enter or click away, and whatever you've typed will appear in the cell. Like in Word and other applications as well, you can format the text in these cells. So if I just click and drag, highlight those 4 cells, I can make them bold, I can make them underline. So these options are within the Home tab here. I can change the background colour of my cell, make it orange if I wanted to. I can change the foreground colour, make it dark blue as opposed to black. You see I've got description there, but you can't quite see it anymore because now it's bold. I can, if I, between B and C, I can grab that line between them and make that bigger. Just so I'm you can see now the full word description, or I can make it small if I wanted to, like that. So let's start adding a little bit of data. So let me think. Let's just say we might have shopping, wages, bills, and I'll put them in the date column. So I'll highlight that now, and I can now I've highlighted those 3 cells. I didn't want them in column A, I wanted them in column B. I can grab that and I can drag it across to the right, and it will move that text. So let's say, for example's sake, we'll say 01, 05, 2021, 02, 05, 2021. Now, the dates have turned to asterisks, and that's because the cell is not wide enough to show the dates. So I'm going to click on here and drag it across to the right, and now it's wider, you can see the dates. I'm just putting in some data here for example's sake, so I'm just going to put random values in here. So let's say we'll put shopping of 50, we'll put wages of 150, and we'll put bills of 75. So you will notice now that Excel tries to format the data in each cell depending on the type of data that it is. So in column B I've got text, and text by default in Excel is left justified. Numbers here by default are right justified. So I didn't do anything, I just typed a number in and Excel right justified it. If I want to change that, well, I've got options here of justification, right alignment, left alignment, or maybe I want to add decimal places to these. So if I highlight all of this text here, if I right click, I've got an option of format cells, and I get this option here, and I want to format my numbers, and I want to add 2 decimal places, and I can add 1,000 separator if I wanted to here, and I can click OK, and it will now add decimal places. I can also format dates if I wanted to. So if I right click on there and I choose format cells, date, it recognizes that it's a date, and it's offering me these date formats here, so I can select one of those, or I can go to custom, and there's a few more options, and you can, even if you want to, you can type your own if you know what kind of format you want, just by kind of following this. So I can change the delimiter from a forward slash to a dash if I wanted to, and that would change how it will be presented. Now the thing about Excel is, and what mainly people use this for, is the financials. And what you can do with when you've got numbers in your Excel worksheet is you can start summing those numbers, adding them all up. So let's imagine that I don't know how many items are going to be in here. So I might have another one for phone, and that might be £15. Now you'll notice that my formats haven't copied any, because I highlighted those cells here and I did the formatting. So you've got a sneaky little option here. If I click on the format that I want to keep, I've got this little paintbrush here under my home tab, and if I click on the paintbrush, it copies the format, and if I click on here, it will paste that format into that cell. Not the text, not the value, just the formatting, and it ought to work the same with this date. So if I click on that, so I might have 3 or 4 entries in here, I might have 10 or a dozen entries in here. So let me just go down to the bottom here, and let me, on line 20, I'm going to write the word total. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to right justify it. Oops. And here, I want this to be the total of this column. So there's a key word that you need to use here, and it's sum. So you say sum, and then you highlight all of the cells that you want to sum. Now there is a button here that does that for you, this sum button. If I click on that, it will try and presume the values that you want to sum, and in this case it's got it wrong. So if I go to the top here, I should be able to make this, or drag it. Oh yeah, in fact, I don't know whether you can see, but there's little at the bottom right and the bottom left, there's little blue squares. If I highlight them, I should be able to drag it down as opposed to moving it. And you see now in this formula bar, it says equals sum brackets C2 C19, and that colon there means it's a range. It's C2 to C19, which is all of that's been highlighted. And when you're happy with that, you just press enter, and that has summed that. And I'll do the same here. I'll click on that. Right now, again, it hasn't gone to the very top, which is what I wanted to do. I can drag this, or maybe I'll just click in here and I'll change that from a 3 to a 2, and that will do the same thing. So the last thing I want to do is I want to say, all right, this is for May. Oh, and I've just realised that that isn't May, that's March. Let me just change these. So if you've got something in here and you want to change it, if you click in there, if I start typing, I'll overtype it. But if I want to change something, I can click into it here and change that to a 5. Now, sorry, I rushed past this last little bit. If I double click on that, I can change the name of that tab to May. So now I've got a May, or maybe I'll double click it again and I will click it and do May 2021, because that's what we're looking at here. So I've got a May expenses, if you like, tab. If I want a new tab now, I can click on this here. So I click on new sheet. It will create me a new sheet. And I want my new sheet actually to be April 2021, and I want it to look the same as this. So what you can do a couple of things. You can, at the top here, top right, you can click on this and it will highlight everything. And then you can copy it, and we'll come to here and you can paste it. And it will paste it. You'll notice as well it's copied the formatting, it's copied the width of the columns. Because you highlighted everything, it's copied literally everything. And now you've got that as a template. That's pretty handy. So now let's make that April 2021. And let's just change these to be, again, we're just doing random figures in here, just for example's sake. So let's say shopping this time was £75. Now that the formatting's there, if I just overtype this, it will keep the formatting. So a little bit more. The bills. Oh, I've got my incoming and outgoing all the way around. I'll change that in a second. So bills, we'll say is that, and the phone stays at 15, and we'll have another one that is holiday. So this is going to be outgoing, so I'll keep it in this column. And oh, that formatting hasn't kept it so I'll click on that, say the formatting. So now what I want to do, I've got these the one way around, so I'm just going to move that, drag that across here like I showed you before. Now when I highlight the pair of them and drag that back, and I want to do the same. If I copy that, I want to fix my May sheet here. Okay, so outgoing and income, that makes more sense. So we've got our values, we've got now some totals here. If you want to move these tabs about, April ought to come before May, you can click it and drag it, and you can reorder the tabs here. Now I want to create one for March. So I can do the same as I did last time. I can click on here, and then I can copy the date from one cell and paste it into another. Or if I right click that, I'm able to click move or copy. I want to say create a copy, and it's going to go before the sheet April 2021. So I click OK, and it now has a copy of April 2021 that is the exact copy. You'll see that. So that was nice and quick. And I'm going to double click on that. You can't have two tabs with the same name, so I'll change this to be March. Get rid of that. And now I'm going to change my figures here. Now I'm going to show you something a little bit new here. So if I just highlight that and get rid of that data now. So in this cell, I'm going to put in 0103 because it's March 2021, and hopefully it'll keep my formatting that I had in. It has. Now, when you highlight a cell, you've got a line all the way around it, and you can use that line, like I showed you before, to drag and move values. But also there's a little it's called the fill bar at the fill button at the bottom right here, this little square, and when you hover over it, your cursor changes. You can see that. What you can do with that is, I've currently got a value in there with the 1st of March 2021, and if I grab this and drag it down, it knows that it's the 1st of March, and as I'm dragging down, it will automatically presume that you want to go from the 1st to the 2nd to the 3rd to the 4th, and it will do that for you, keeping the formatting and all that sort of stuff. You can do it with a lot of things. So if I put the numbers 1 and 2, and if I highlight that and drag this down, it should go 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah? So that's pretty cool. You can do other things like Monday, and then if I click in Monday and use that little box there and drag it down, it should say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it goes back to Monday again. You can do it for months of the year. You can do it for abbreviations of such. So if I do that, it knows that they're abbreviated days, and it will continue to abbreviate them. It's a nifty option in Excel if you wanted to use it. I've got a video on it. I will put a link to it in the description of this video. Anyway, for the sake of test purposes, demonstration purposes, we'll leave those dates as they are. We'll change this to be something like, I don't know, I don't know, lottery. We'll change that to be that. We'll put £50 that's coming from the lottery, and we'll change our formatting. So what I wanted to do, I'll add one more entry here. Copy that formatting, and I will put a holiday back in there, and it's outgoing, and we'll say it's £100. No, we'll say it's 150. Right, we've now got 3 sheets here, all set up the same, and the key point here is that we've got the total column here in line 20. We're not changing that, which is important because we're going to use it in a second. So let's say now that we've got these 3 months, we now want to create some sort of summary sheet. We want to create a summary sheet that shows you the whole year of incoming and outgoings, so that we can balance our finances every month but for the whole year. So let me show you something before I do that. In here, I've shown you there you can do equals sum by using that button there. You can type your own. You can say equals. In fact, let me just start. If you type anything, it is just going to be text, or it's just going to be a number. But if you begin it with equals, Excel knows that you want to do something a little bit more different. You want to do a formula or some sort of function. So a formula might be 2 times 10. So the cell says, when you look at it, 20, but actually the value in it is 2 times 10. But what's displayed is the result of that mathematical formula. And you can do, divided by or anything you like here. You can make it as complicated as you want. 2 times 10 divided by 4, I don't know. So that's what's in the cell here, but actually what's displayed is the result of that cell. Now let's look at another option when you pressing equals within a cell. So another thing you can do is say this cell, the value in this cell equals the value in that cell. So equals D6. So my cell here is cell F7, but the value in it is D6. So whatever's in D6 will be displayed in F7, and I'll prove that if I change that value to 60, this value is changed to 60. Okay, so it's quite handy. There's a lot of things you can do in here. And equally, I can mimic what I did down here. So I can do equals sum and start brackets, and I can just highlight those here and end brackets and press enter, and then it'll be the sum of those values, those 4 cells. So here is the sum of all of those, but here I've just typed in D3 to D6. And if you're unsure what this is referencing, if you click in it, Excel will highlight the cells that make up that formula. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that. It's quite important that. I know it was quite quick, but again, I've got other videos that are showing you that in a bit more detail. But let us create a new tab. And we're going to call this tab Overview. Excuse me. So if I just double click that, we're going to call it Overview 2021. And I'm going to drag it to the left so it's at the beginning. And then we'll say at the top here, we'll type month, we'll type income, outgoing, balance. And our month, we're going to begin with Jan. And then I'm going to, like I showed you, I'm going to drag it down so that it puts December in, all the way down to December, there. I'm going to make that bold. I can also, I've got increasing font size, I can change the font, I can decrease the font size, or I can get a little bit more, you know, I can select if I wanted to and just make that. There's a nice little button here just to click it and it makes the font a little bit bigger. So there's my months, there's my columns. I've got March, April and May here. So I've got values in other cells here that I want to put on my overview. So if I click on March here, income, if I type equals, it now says, all right, equals what do you want me to put in here? This is the point where I could put another cell in and say the value in this cell equals the value in another cell. So if I go now, if I click on March 2021 and I click on my total income column here and I press enter, the value from this cell is now the value in here. And I'm going to do the same thing here, equals March outgoing, and then I press enter. I'm going to do the same here, equals April incoming, enter, and equals April outgoing, enter. And the last one I'll do equals May. So I press equals, select my tab, select my field, enter. Select this cell, equals tab, cell, enter. There's my values that I've got at the minute. Now I've got a balance here, so let me look at this. If I say what I want to do is work out if I've got enough money coming in compared to my outgoings. So I'm going to say equals, and I want to say, before I did a mathematical formula of 2 times 10, what I want to do is I want to say equals this value, which is B4, minus this value. And I can use this fill handle now, and I can pull this down. And what that will do is, because I'm dragging down, it will change the row numbers that are referenced within my formula. So right now I've got B4 equals C4. Here, it's changed automatically to B5 minus C5, and here it's changed automatically to B6 minus C6. Now, I can see here now, looking at this, that currently for the month of March and April I spent more than I actually earned, but in May I spent less. And then I can put a total here that is kind of the running total. So I can say I can use this sum again and use that little box there to drag it up a little bit, and then I press enter. So currently my balance for the year, although I haven't yet put January or February in, is minus £70, and hopefully that'll rectify itself further down. Now if I were to go to April and I think actually no, the holiday didn't cost quite as much as I thought it did, and I'm going to change his outgoing to £50. It's changed that value because this value is, because it's a formula, it's dynamic. So whenever I change within my kind of the formula area, this bit here, whenever I change something, it will change that total. And if I go to my overview, it's changed the value in here because this is dynamic. This cell doesn't say 195, it says whatever is in this cell. So as I change things here, and I correct things, and I add things, and I update things, so will be all the cells that reference the cells that I've changed. And now, because I've updated my outgoings, I'm now £5 up instead of £45 down for the month of April. I don't know whether I wanted to do much else on that. A couple maybe of formatting points. If I just go to here, because this is a total section here, if I highlight those, I've got options of changing the borders. So I can put a single border and a double lower border. Sorry, a single upper and a double lower, which looks like a total. It looks a bit more like a total field now with the double underline. There are options when you've got data. You can insert graphs and charts. So you could, if we go back to the overview section here, when you've got all of this data, you can then insert a graph and a chart to show that data. If I hover over it, you can see how it gives examples of the graphs at the bottom. So if I say, in fact I'll do it now, if I highlight all of that, we'll forget about the total, and I click on there and I select this graph, you can now see that for March, you can see my income column is just over 250, which it is at 260. My outgoing was just under 300, which it was 295, and then the balance you can see is in the minus, whereas these two, the balances are in the plus, as you can see. And again, these cells reference these cells in here, and this graph reference these cells. So if I go back to here and I correct something, or I change something and say, do you know that actually that holiday was a little bit more, it was £200, that changes that value, that changes these values, and it's changed the value in this cell as well. So you can see how those have changed based on me changing that data. I think that's the end of this video. We've covered quite a bit there, and hopefully I didn't go too quickly. Hopefully it made sense to everybody. I'll put some links to other videos that I've got that will kind of complement this, that hopefully will help. And if you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, please leave them at the bottom of this video, and I'll answer any questions that you've got, or any feedback will be appreciated. Thanks very much for watching this video. See you next time.